All right. Welcome. Welcome to today. We're going to start with part one. Um, I guess we are all live now. I just wanted to pop on here really quickly and share with you guys. I'm going to do like a 5-part series for week one here and just share with you guys a little bit more about something that completely changed my life many years ago, and that was the cash flow quadrant. So, you guys might have heard of the cash flow quadrant. It was written by a man called Robert Kiyosaki, who is today the best-selling author in the entire world on personal finance books. And so, for me, some people love his stuff, some people don't, whatever else. That doesn't really matter. What this concept just completely changed my life in how I was thinking about my work and whatever else, right? And today, I just wanted to come on and share a little bit about part one. Okay, so part one is of the Cashflow quadrant. I believe you guys can see this. Is up here in the top left, and there's a big E that stands for employee. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I went to school. I went to university. I then, of course, thought, okay, what jobs can I get, and so on. And of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a job. I think everybody should start out working, having a job, and so on. It's an amazing experience for many, many reasons. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what the positives are of being in this quadrant and what some of the negatives are, okay? So let's talk about a few things of the positives, right? So being up here, the positives are you obviously have a stable income, right? It's a stable income, okay? And you're getting paid. You're doing some work. You're exchanging some time for money, whatever that is, whatever you're doing, right? Okay? Also, often when you have a job, you have benefits, right? You have benefits such as you might have, like an insurance paid. You might have like things like that being taken care of so you can get like proper health care and whatever else, right? Amazing, amazing, right? And also, a lot of times you're paying something into a pension plan, which can and cannot be a positive. It depends totally on who you are and what your what kind of character you are. And that's another thing is I don't think that everybody is suited to be in any of these other quadrants, which I'm going to talk about these next few days. But what I do think is that if you if you look at this as a whole, how can you think like outside the box a little bit? How can you think about, okay, maybe my life, I shouldn't be an employee the rest of my life. Which is what I came across. This is now like 20 years ago, okay? Another reason why you might want to be have a job and be an employee is that you might develop a lot of skills, right? You might develop different skills, okay? You might learn a lot of things in a job. We all do. Like hopefully you're in a job that's stimulating, whatever else, right? And there might be like a nice career path, something else that you can do. Another huge thing with having a job sometimes, instead of maybe working for yourself or having a business, whatever else, is the social connections. A lot of people love working with other people, right? And so it just depends totally what job you have, but the social connections, the social side of things is also another positive, right? Okay? And a lot of times you have less headaches and less responsibilities than being like the owner of a company or having your own business, okay? So it's like less headaches, I would say, like, or what should we call it? Like less responsibility, okay? So these are all great things of changing your time for money, right? You're changing your time for money. Okay. Once you stop working, however, you probably don't get paid. So let's talk a little bit about the negatives of being in this E quadrant. Okay. So some of the negatives I would say. Okay. First of all, usually you are limited to the amount of hours you're able to put in, right? So you're limited by like how much you're gonna make. Okay. You're limited by the income potential. Okay. Let's put it that way. Okay. You're limited income potential. Okay, because you only have a certain amount of hours a day. Sure, you can progress in a job and often get like the next promotion, whatever else, and so on. However, you are completely dependent on your employer. Okay, so you're dependent upon your dependent on the employer. Okay, if they tell you you got to be at work at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, you better be there 8 or 9 in the morning. Otherwise, there's a bit of a conflict, right? So you don't really have much flexibility today, of course. Since the world has changed, a lot of people are now able to have a little bit more flexibility of where they're working from and a little bit so on in hours as well. However, there's a very little control over the time, right? You have very little control over the time, over your time. And also one of the things that many people don't know about is that being an employee is probably in our society, in most countries, those of you that are watching, is actually the worst tax bracket you can possibly be in, okay? But many of you just think about, okay, what do I get after I get paid taxes? But it's actually like the worst tax place to be, okay? Usually, most countries, being an employee is where you pay the most taxes, okay? Okay? And you probably, no matter how hard you work or how little work, you probably have very little control over the amount of money you'll be able to make. Now, hopefully, even though statistics show that, but hopefully you're working in a job where you are loving it, right? But usually there's huge job satisfaction. People are not like Monday morning, like going to a job. You know, they're like a little bit like, ah, oh, man, I wish it was Sunday again, or Friday, or Saturday, or whatever, right? So you might have jobs dissatisfaction, okay? Dissatisfaction. How do you spell that? No, that's not two S's, is it? Yeah, it is. Dissatisfaction, okay? Sorry, you probably can't even read any of this stuff I'm writing here. And those of you who are live on Instagram here, I see you can't, it's not even in focus, okay? And also another thing you always have to deal with when you have a job usually, if you go to workplace, is politics, right? Workplace politics. Oh my goodness. This was one of my things when I worked in the banking world. I just remember I was always really frustrated because I felt that I should get promoted, I should get certain things and whatever else because I was doing a better job than everyone else. But because of politics and so on, they didn't always want to hire me. I did get promoted a few times, and I was finally like a manager over lots of people that were way older than me. So anyway, but loads of these are just a few, I think, of the big things of the negatives. But the big thing for me here that we got to think about, and this is what, you know, Kiyosaki talks a lot about, is this whole thing of like, are you trading your time for money? Like, if you're not there, you're not getting paid. That's the huge disadvantage, I think, of being, in this quadrant right here. But there's huge advantages, and I always say, be an employee while you're building some of these other things here, okay, that we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to come back and discuss a little bit more what's in the next thing in the cash flow quadrant. But I highly recommend for you guys to get the book. Rich Dad Poor Dad's the first one. I would say the second one is the cash flow quadrant. He's written many other books. I've got a few of them here actually. But I just think there's some great concepts. And it just kind of opened up my mind. And hopefully it will open up yours too. Anyway, have an awesome day, everybody. Thank you guys so much for popping on here. All right. How do we close this? There we go. All right. No.